Hello and welcome to SunnyRedemption Sailing, your bi-weekly voyage for BS3 gaming news. We're gonna get to a ton of gaming news today, ranging from the Xbox Developer Direct to the chaos at Ubisoft. What have you been playing?
In the limited time I've had, a few different
With the
things.
snow, yeah.
Yeah, just because I was stuck at work for a night, and, working a bunch extra too. But in the time I've had, especially today, I had a lot of time to catch up on stuff. Trying out some of the new Game Pass stuff. What did I try? I tried Dropduchy. I didn't really dig it. It's kind of like a weird
I was just playing that!
Tetris drop puzzle. It's hard to explain.
No, I've been playing it. I was excited because I was just playing that before getting on.
Oh, nice.
Because I think I can really get you psyched about that game. Okay.
Yeah, I totally want to try it again. It just I was playing it first thing in the morning this morning.
Yeah, that's not a great time. It's a confusing game
Yeah.
at first. It's Tetris plus the exploration phase of RTS games or turn-based games,
like
plus
resource gathering. Yeah.
Right, plus battle orders, the like rock paper scissors of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I dig it so far that it's a really interesting twist on one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, by the way, I'm having some weird server errors when I'm trying to join.
Oh no! The other game I tried was Annomutationem Deluxe
Yes, I tried
Complete
that
Edition.
as well. The only unfortunate thing is I lost a bunch of progress because it crashed on me. I was
Arg!
digging it, so I'll probably go back to it. It's just like I played the intro and got a little ways in without a save, and the last autosave was a good 10-15 minutes before where I was, so
Ouch!
I was like, alright, I'll come back to this some other time.
Was very confused by the opening cutscene and the opening to the story, and just saved my progress, because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna really get back to this.
Yeah, it's cool so far. I'm definitely keeping it installed. I just was a little discouraged when I lost a little bit of progress.
Yeah,
that
would be bad.
I'll give it a few days.
Fortunately, the only technical glitches that I had with Lost Records Bloomandrage, which I'll get into more depth later, is Nora's hair in the modern day just goes freaky for some reason. And during the final part, there was a bunch of times when people would just not complete their walk cycles and just move up and down in midair for some reason. So
don't say anything too specific because I still haven't finished that game.
Oh, you still haven't finished it?
So...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then I can just give my general impressions of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than a couple of really annoying puzzles that I had to look up, I'm not quite sure where you are in Tape 2, but like...
Not super far. Started Tape 2, and I don't remember exactly where I am because it's been a while. But not super far.
Well, I mean, I think at the beginning of it is when there's the packing, and I hated that so much. I hated it! It just was... I hate packing, except for electronics, in real life. And while I understand the Tetris-like aspect of having to fit everything in the bag, having to do it in 3 minutes for the achievement was like, what? How does anybody do that?
I don't know if I got that achievement.
Probably.
Yeah, probably not unless I was trying for it.
I mean, it's kind of like the 3D Tetris, now that I kind of understand that in a sense, which that is coming for the Virtual Boy, but we'll get to that. Lots of announcements and such.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, my game's still giving me server errors, even when I'm, like, starting my own session.
What?
Not
Why?
sure what's going on there. I have no idea.
Well, that's incredibly strange.
My network settings and everything seems fine on that end.
Do you want to restart your Xbox and hope that works? I could
try
just kind of give people my spoiler impressions of Lost Records while you're working on that. I'm getting unstable connection, so I think something is happening to the servers with this new update. Well, I gotta let you go to restart your Xbox. Sorry about that.
Let me do that now and see if that does anything. I'll be back in a minute.
So, spoiler impressions of Lost Records Bloomandrage. What the fuck was that ending? It was so wild. I think this is teasing a sequel that Swan is going to go into the abyss and try to save Cat. But the game underperformed. So I really don't know if Don't Nod is going to be able to make a sequel, and that's so frustrating. Because that ending choice is not optional, and now we have a non-optional cliffhanger to this. I believe that I had Nora was my first love, Autumn stayed, but Nora didn't. But it was still a fun ending that was bittersweet and fit well with all the characters. Do I want to replay this game? Maybe later on when it's a little bit less fresh in my mind, because there are certain parts of the gameplay that are really annoying or that are so opaque that you have to look them up.
When Xbox reboot later.
Okay, there you are.
My headset had to reset itself.
So I just
loading in.
Gave my quick spoilery impressions of the insane ending of Tape 2. It really built up everything very well. All the emotions felt earned. I love all these characters. This is the best Life is Strange game. I'm sorry to the first one. It was a germ of an idea, but it went in two different directions. One, endlessly navel-gazing, trying to correct the past to appease price fielders, who we are a very ravenous group of people, without much other story architecture to support it, which I guess we'll see how that turns out in Reunion. And then actually exploring the gameplay further with the video camera, and opening up story possibilities that were not conceivable in the original game because of that. So I think Don't Nod's interpretation wins out, but I was also expressing worries because the game underperformed, so we'll see if it gets a sequel, especially with this injection of Game Pass players. I probably would not have gotten it if it was just at $40, but I adore this game on Game Pass. And based on the developer direct, I decided to find a CD key that covers me for Game Pass through November. So I'm in. Mostly. I'm very nervous. Okay. But let's talk about it while you try to load in.
So my server issues are gone, so that restart actually might have fixed things. Are you able to invite me into the session we're in? Because it's not letting me join for some reason.
Huh. Let's see. Do I have to leave the game again? What is going on with this game?
I think maybe because when I tried to join, it said the session was full because it was a private session, two-person session.
Well,
the previous version of me is still like slotted in as the reserve player.
That's so weird. I've sent you an invite now, but I may have to quit the game. There we go. The captain has joined the crew. Okay, Navigator reporting for duty. What voyage are we doing when we talk about the developer direct?
Hey, I mean, if you want just something low stress, low key that we can do, fishing is always my preference.
Yeah, that's probably needed for, again, reasons that I'll get to. You know what? I really enjoyed the punk spirit of Bloom and Rage for that reason, which will come into play later. But the developer direct, my goodness.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say I totally called it on the last time that we talked about it before the developer direct, because I totally said, hey, that Kiln prototype they were working on, I
yeah, it showed up before. It showed up like right before the show that we talked about.
I'd like to say that I was basically 2 for 2, because the two games I was speculating were either the new Life is Strange, which happened a day earlier, and then Kiln. Those are my two predictions.
Well, that first one, does that really count? Because it's not part of the developer direct. But I guess, you know what?
I said that, you know, if it seems like they're going to announce it soon, so it could show up there, or it could be its own thing. I think that's pretty much the gist of what I was saying. Was it's either, you know, the timing seems like it could land in the developer direct, or it could be Kiln. So it's kind of a 50-50, and Life is Strange ended up being literally the day before. So I was like, it's still, you know, close enough for me.
Confession time? For production reasons, the last episode of SunnyRedemption Sailing was all about the commentary that we did specifically on Avatar, because I was very nervous about putting up a post that would talk about other politics or other gaming news in that subreddit, and I think that paid off. So
clairvoyance, yeah.
Yes, exactly, if you're clairvoyance. Anyway, part of the other reason is that I was embarrassed that I didn't know that the developer direct had already been announced. So I'll take the L on that one.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But it would have been very insightful if they hadn't announced the timing like hours before.
Yeah, that was especially funny because I was operating under the assumption that you do, so I was just saying all this stuff. It's like, oh wait, I just sound like a genius right now. Saying like, oh yeah, they'll definitely show Fable, they'll show Forza, and it's like, oh well, that's how I knew.
Because they said, yes, that is true. They did say that. Which do you want to talk about, Fable or Forza first?
I'd probably go in like whatever they showed first. Like,
oh yeah, so Forza.
Lead off.
I am very nervous.
In what way?
Well, let's get to the parts that I liked first, before I get to my negative thoughts. The presentation itself was mostly good, though I think a lot of the presentation people were kind of frustrated by the developer fluff. I understand, they want to show these developers as human beings, but these sections landed very flat for me because they felt very corporately arranged, especially after all the layoffs. Like, there is just this nagging feeling in the back of my mind of a lot of these points in the show. Like how the Fable developers over at Playground were like, we're trying to respect the vision of the original creators, Lionhead. In a vacuum, that's perfectly fine. I don't blame the devs at all. But we could have had a Fable 4 6 fucking years ago if Microsoft had been short-sighted and eliminated Lionhead in the first place.
But yeah, as far as the whole Lionhead stuff goes, like, yeah, they're never going to like say anything of substance about that. Like,
I mean, obviously, that's not. It's just a dark context for the show.
Yeah, it does suck.
It clouds.
But it's like, you know, this industry has a very short memory. That was like,
yeah.
You know, from the perspective of like people who are looking forward to this game now. If you're, you know, in your early to mid 20s thinking about this game, which is, you know, the audience that they want,
right.
They're the ones who are, you know, engaged. Yeah, you were a literal child when the Lionhead drama went down 15 years ago, so
it wasn't,
I don't think
it wasn't 15 years ago. They got closed in 2015 after the beta for Fable Legends failed. But right, yeah, a decade ago is still a long time.
But yeah, like in terms of this industry, that's like ancient history, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not to say that that stuff shouldn't be brought up, of course, but like.
Well, that's what the show is for, is to give people that context. Is to make sure that people realize that, yeah, this sucks. I mean, it wasn't enough to deter me from buying more Game Pass, but I did so through the gray market, because that is allowed, and it worked. I did not give Microsoft directly any money for that. And it's also kind of confusing why their biggest single-player launch in forever that could have brought more people to the Xbox ecosystem with bundles and stuff is going to PlayStation 5 day one. I mean, I get it for the new audience that may not be familiar with the series, but if you're trying to build demand for this, you should do it in a way more similar to how they've done it with other PS5 games, right? Where there is timing, and that gives developers time for sure to work on a third platform.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the later ports are just because of where studios were at with in the porting process, and like, hey, we're just
that's
like,
why
I'm
Forza.
Sure, like, for example, Forza launching later is probably just due to like, hey, we kind of are prioritizing the console that we've been working with forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than spinning it up immediately on, you know, a console where they're going to make a lot of money, because Forza Horizon 5 sold well on PS5.
Which is why their moves around the premium edition are fucking scummy, and that's the main thing that has me angry and saddened. Because the game itself looks like a really good return to form after the experience that I had overall with Forza Horizon 5. I still think that they need to fix their pacing problem of overwhelming the map with too much crap that they've had since like Forza Horizon 3-ish.
Pretty much everything they talked about with the progression sounds very positive to me, because like with Horizon 4 and Horizon 5, they went very open-ended with like, hey, you can pretty much bring any car to anything, and we'll kind of just give you right, and that's nice, but it's like,
it's not great for gameplay.
Freedom of choice can like inhibit design. You know, like, hey, we're gonna design this course to be this, and we're gonna design an intentional progression to kind of give you a ramp up, rather than just letting you bring all your S2 hypercars into, you know, the tutorial races. So they explicitly mentioned the wristband system, which is like, you know, more of a nod to the first couple Horizon games. where there was more of a linear progression of like, okay, you're gonna start kind of with a junker, and then you're gonna.
And you're not keen to the festival right away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
I think that
like,
time traveling overlord from that started off as the rookie from Forza Horizon 1 is now comfortably retired after winning like 5 races in a row.
As far as the progression and like not just giving you everything right off the bat, I think I prefer that personally. Like, I prefer kind of bringing in the junky cars and seeing what they can do, and of course you could do that in the other games, but like, I feel like a lot of players are going to just gravitate and look at the bigger number and say, oh, bigger number equals more fun race, which isn't always true.
I fell into that trap several times, especially because in 5, I got a Titan Tune from Titan Tuning, who is no longer really active, but she was great. She tuned up all my cars perfectly, and I just won every race and got bored. Like,
right. And there's nothing wrong with like the tuning stuff. The tuning stuff is cool, but you can still make a really cool like B-class tune. You don't have to throw everything into the S2 class to, you know, make it an interesting race. I like that change insofar as like it's gonna force people to like try out more stuff, I think.
My issue wasn't so much with the cars, because I usually just stuck to a few that I really liked for different categories of race instead of just raining hypercars everywhere. The event pacing, just so much icon crap. And then what really is making me very nervous, upset, is the premium edition, as I think I started to say earlier.
Yeah.
The problem being that we're going back to the battle days of Forza Horizon 3 when the premium edition did not get you everything. And that just feels incredibly fucking scummy with the Game Pass price increases and the price increases on the consoles. It's just like, they're just raising the water bit by bit and see what they can fucking get away with.
Yeah, real quick, because I haven't really looked into the premium edition. I just saw like, okay, it's $60 this time, which, you know, I understand because game prices have gone up since the last, you know,
but it's
$120
if you want to own the game, and you do not own everything. You do not get the expansions with this.
That's
so
what
that's
I was
an automatic
ask,
skip.
Is like, oh, okay, I did not know about the expansion thing. That's awful.
Yeah, that is incredible.
That's wild.
You can see why I'm angry now, because that proposition was fixed for Forza Horizon 4 and 5.
Yeah, like that.
While they were trying to bring in a new audience, and now they've late-staged the hell out of Forza Horizon. Yet I'll still play the game on Game Pass.
The expansions are not in the because like the Game Pass upgrade is $60 this time. Are you sure the expansions are not in that? Because that's crazy if so.
There will be 2 of them included.
Right, that's the usual form. Okay.
But
do we know that there's going to be more than 2?
Let's see.
Because that's been their pattern since like.
You know, I think I may have misunderstood this, but the because it normally would come in the $100 edition.
Because I'm thinking about like, okay, if they're selling a $60 Game Pass upgrade, what is actually in that if not the expansions?
Well,
like extra cars and VIP stuff, sure. Early
it's the post. It's 2 post-launch expansions.
Okay.
I read that wrong several days ago with the. This is kind of why I like to do these things closer to announcements, but it's still enraging to me because you're basically paying a full game to be locked in to expansions that may be uneven, and for what? As well. The car pass is fine, but I don't really care. More car packs. The VIP membership, if it's just more rewards on top of more rewards with the constant dopamine slot machining, then that's not really useful either.
Yeah, because I remember Horizon 4 got really bad with the wheel spin stuff, and they did tone it down a little bit in Horizon 5. So I wonder if they're going to kind of pull back even further now. And just have more, like, locked-in rewards, like, hey, do this race and get this. I think I'd probably prefer that if they went more in that direction.
I mean, I'm excited for the game, to be fair. Like, I'm hoping that it's a denser environment, and Japan is a pretty dense country, so that works. Pretty much any patch of England could work for Forza Horizon 4. For Australia, they had the coast of Australia with that nearby a jungle. Forza Horizon 1, you had the Colorado Mountains. Forza Horizon 2, you had the coasts of France and Italy, and then Storm Island, which I still need to finish. And then for 5, they just basically squished an entire country into a very tiny map, and it felt very incoherent a lot of times, especially with the way that things unlocked so fast. Like, if things had been paced better and I'd stayed in the desert region for a while, then that would be a different story. I imagine that, again, this is helped by Japan being a smaller country, with more city racing to be sure, and I'm intrigued by the mentions of unique Tokyo car culture, because I'm not really familiar with the Fast and Furious movies or Japanese racing games and that kind of thing.
I would definitely advise, at least if you really want to get a feel for it, at least 2000s car culture, definitely watch Tokyo Drift. On top of being a pretty good movie, like,
I think
you'll
probably
catch the drift. Maybe watch an episode or two of Initial D. Yes, oh, of course. Which is an old 80s car drifting anime. Initial D.
Oh, that's what that was. I've heard the name, but I never really had it stick.
Anytime you see, like, cars drifting on Tokyo highways like that, that's usually referencing Initial D.
I see.
I mean, there is plenty more. I'm nowhere near an expert or anything. I'm sure there's plenty more media revolving around car culture in Japan, but those are the two that I'm most aware of. So whenever I see any drifting in something, I'm like, oh, that looks like Tokyo Drift, or that looks like Initial D.
Makes sense. So, back to Fable. I really am intrigued by the world, more so than the gameplay. It kind of just looks like your generic action RPG without the choices. And some people have been very upset about the aging.
The combat looks extremely Witchery to me, at least Witcher 3.
Yeah, that's making me nervous.
There's a bit of weight to it.
I kind of hate weighty combat. As I've mentioned, it takes a bit of time for my brain to process things to do neurodivergence, and so having the command be slowed up kind of adds to the queue. I can kind of understand it, and hopefully it's a little bit faster than, say, the Lords of the Fallen or other Souls-like games, or Elden Ring, or what have you. And Witcher had a problem for me where the movement felt way too stiff. I just could not get past that, for whatever reason, when I have tried playing the game. I can't really explain why. I think it's that it's on diagonals to some degree. They added a movement option to make it more analog, and I still didn't really gel with it.
Yes, they did. There was a post-launch patch that made it...
Oh, I forgot to sail to quest, duh.
Oh, okay, yes. There's that, and I was gonna just... We forgot to Emissary, so...
Yeah,
bring
let's
us back
do
to that. And we also have a Reaper's chest, which I don't remember if we can sell here now. I know they've made changes where you can sell some Reaper stuff to the Reaper's bones here. I don't know if you can sell
Oh, there it is. I see.
So I just want to get rid of that at least. If we can't sell it here, we could always just make a quick trip to the hideout. It's not super far.
Complaints, from long time ago fans are about the aging and about the morality system. Can you explain that a bit more? Because again, I bounced off the old games.
Like, I played some of Fable: The Lost Chapters, which is kind of the definitive edition of the original, and then Fable 2 is definitely the one I know the best. Essentially, like,
that's the best.
It was very reactive. Like, anything you did, in fact, like, sort of put you on a scale of your morality. Like, oh, if you kick a puppy, you start to become evil. You even start to grow kind of like devil horns, if I remember right. And
I guess I don't want people to have a broken first impression immediately with horns.
Yeah, I think they're kind of just making it more of a gray thing rather than black and white. Speaking of Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, we'll see if they live up to the promises, unlike him.
Yeah.
What's he working on now? I forget.
He was working on that Albion game, which is sort of...
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a black and white spiritual successor.
With the world of Albion that he created to some degree.
So,
would be it's a generic setting for England.
It's a generic enough name. It's like, hey, they can't really trademark the name Albion, so I'll just use it again.
Yeah, I haven't really played much of his other games other than
Fable.
Black
and White is cool.
Oh, and Goddess for a little bit, but I didn't really like that.
And that other...
Oh wait, I forgot to Emissary before selling. I'm such an idiot.
Oh, I also forgot to Emissary. I was gonna swing us over by the
We both had long weeks. And also, you ditched me, so... Just keep going.
I didn't realize you were off the ship. Okay.
Let's actually do the Emissary we came for. I forget where that is on this island. Yeah.
The other dock on the other part of the island.
Oh. Yeah, sorry. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, for as much as like I'm not like a super huge fan of Molyneux for some of the stuff he's done, and a little shady in some spots, especially with his crowdfunding in the past decade. But I mean, Fable, I love Fable too. I was very bought into the hype for it, and kind of like it was very hyped at the time in 2008. Like they even had Fable 2 pub games. It was a very big presence at E3 that year. So I was very into Fable 2. I wouldn't call myself a massive Fable fan, because like I played Fable 3 and really didn't dig it, and didn't get super far in that one. Didn't ever try the Connect game. Tried Fable, what was it? Fable Fortune, that weird spin-off that they...
Oh yeah, the card battler. Yeah. I bounced off of that one too. I was so confused by it.
So the whole thing kind of just lost steam. I love the systemic stuff that they showed around the different choices, and that they very much emphasize like, hey, everything you do is going to have a knock-on effect. I love that. If it can live up to that in some way, then I'm definitely
I'm very excited for Fable. That is exactly the kind of game that they need to anchor their 2026 fall. Yeah. And so I'll just not stop worrying about platforms and enjoy the game. Now that I have this Game Pass, I'm giving their 2026 lineup a shot. I'm sure there will be more that will be announced at Summer Game Fest.
I definitely think like Gears E-Day is kind of, unless it gets delayed, I think a lot of the scuttlebutt was that, hey, it's supposed to come out this year. So if they manage to get Gears out the door, and then I don't know when they'll put Gears out. I feel like Gears tends to be September, October kind of thing.
Yeah, so if it's going to happen this year, it has to be in the fall.
Yeah. And then Halo, if it wasn't for a certain other game, I would say Halo's release date was the most predictable date ever, of just, November 15th or whatever, 2026, because that would be the exact 25th anniversary.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
The big wrench in that plan is it's 4 days before GTA 6, so I don't know if they want to...
It's a very different audience.
It can be, but I feel like GTA 6, more than any other game in the history of the medium, has the potential to be all-consuming. Like, I would not underestimate GTA 6.
If they have Gears slotted in for the fall, that would be part of the reason, I mean, other than just it's done when it's done, Forza is coming in the spring on May 19th, which I'm so excited for, because that's basically going to be my birthday gift to myself.
Oh, yeah.
If the expansions are worth it, then maybe I'll get the pass at some point. We'll see.
I mean, I do wonder, like, if the expansions... Like, the giant robot they showed is like, okay, is that gonna... I would assume that's probably gonna be just a showcase in the base game or something. Is like, hey, race a giant robot through the city.
Oh, well, isn't that a Gundam?
It didn't look like... I mean, I'm not a Gundam expert. I've watched several Gundam series, but I don't know.
I have zero experience with Gundam.
I don't have the feat of every Gundam memorized, but it didn't look particularly Gundam to me.
I still need to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, so maybe it's that too. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's a much shorter thing to get through than Gundam if you're trying to watch.
Yeah, like, I have the Blu-ray.
There's a solid 40 years of Gundam series, whereas Evangelion's 26 episodes in a movie.
There's an I'm excited for this game and for understanding more about Japanese culture that way. I'll definitely check out both of those things, as well as tokyodrift and Initial D.
I also wonder, like, will there be any, like, notable Japanese IP tie-ins?
Good point.
That seems like a slam dunk. I mean, like, if you look on any of the, like, customization stuff for any previous Forza games, like, half of it is anime already.
The other half is just people making their own bespoke things that way.
I feel like if ever there was a time, now would be it. I don't have any like good ideas for what that would be, but
it still would have been nice if they had tied in One Piece to Sea of Thieves, but whatever. I'm excited for season 2.
I mean, that ship has probably sailed.
Literally.
Unless there is something for season 2. I mean, they haven't had any notable IP crossovers in a while, so.
I guess we'll see what comes to Forza then.
Yeah.
Which that's fine. And speaking of Japanese games, I got back into Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. The
nice.
good thing about that game is that pretty much every section, you know what you need to know for that section. So, I failed at the batting cage miserably. I don't know what the fuck I did wrong, but, yeah, there it is. And, well, even though I have no nostalgia for the Kiryu games, I can see why people do. I'm a bit hoping that, like, you know, I guess the next games will diverge so that half the runtime isn't taken up by a character who I have no prior attachment to, but he's cool.
I could definitely see that. Like, I'm trying to, because a lot of the stuff that you do with Kiryu, especially the side stuff that they present to you in the back half of the game, that is definitely, like, I wouldn't even recommend doing that stuff unless you've played the previous games. Honestly, it's like super interesting if you have, and then it's like.
I looked up the lore when I got confused about characters, and
yeah, I'm trying to think of how I would even think about that stuff if I hadn't, because I'm thinking of a few scenes where characters kind of show up out of nowhere, and like it's very impactful if you know the characters, and I think if you don't know the characters, it'll just kind of not really matter.
Right, well, I mean, when I looked up those characters as a result, it was very, very interesting. Like, the story have been very good, but I just don't know if I can do that many games in a row unless there's a massive sale of the entire collection on Steam again.
Yeah, and the stuff that you do with Kiryu and Infinite Wealth, all the side stuff, I forget what they call it, but the, like, reminiscing stuff, like...
Yes, the reminiscing. That's what I've been doing.
It is pretty lengthy. Like, if you want to clean up all that stuff, I think...
Yeah, no, I'm not.
It's probably... By the way, we're going to take a hit here.
Is there also an enemy ship? Because it looked like there was a tiny flag in the distance.
Oh, I wasn't looking...
There is a ship, I think.
Okay.
Yes. We need to get out of here.
So let's get out of here. Here, why don't we ditch the Reaper chest, too, because that's just a target on our back.
Yeah, just drop it in the ocean. I'm going to keep a lookout, but they're not anywhere near to chasing us. Like, I think they're doing...
You can actually open Reaper's chest now. Hold on.
Skeletons will emerge to fight alongside your crew.
I forgot that was the thing. I think they added that last season.
Okay, or so in season 18, part 1, now. Or whatever it is now.
We still have a marker on a map for it, so I'm still going to ditch the chest. I don't know if the skeletons are going to disappear. We'll need to ditch the chest, and I
think it probably needed to be opened on an island if we actually wanted to use it on an island, but at least we have insurance now, in case they decide to attack.
Oh no, they respawn with you. There's a whole mob of skeletons with us.
Oh, alright. Neato.
Alright. Well, now I know how that works.
Okay, well, I guess we can use them. And, get what we came here.
They're not going to help us much with our fishing, but...
Oh, duh. For some reason I thought there was another thing here, but yeah, it is pretty neat that that exists. And again, can help us in case somebody attacks. So let's just move on still, I suppose. And speaking of lots of players, Kiln.
Yeah, the little I knew about it before it was, like, you know, shown off seemed pretty cool. The one thing it seems like they've gone away a little bit from is the MOBA element. Like, it's still there, but basically the little bit that they talked about it before was pitching it as like a full-on like
PvP
MOBA style thing, and there's still the element of destroying the enemy base, which is very
totally
MOBA-ish, but it seems like they were emphasizing other stuff at least. So I'm very interested to see, you know, like how it plays. I have some faith in Double Fine. They usually don't steer me wrong.
My thing is that I usually like what I play of Double Fine games, but other than Psychonauts 2, I've never really gotten into them. It's not their fault. It's just, it doesn't gel with me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, Stacking was fun, but I got stumped. Psychonauts 1, the controls were terrible. But that's a product of the time, so I don't blame them for that.
Yeah.
Like,
and yeah,
on and on.
Like, they're the ones that, like, I didn't really care for stacking either, but they have a pretty high hit ratio for me. Like, I'm trying to think of the other ones that I don't like. Didn't really care for Iron Brigade. Headlander was all right. Some of their smaller projects are not necessarily my thing, but I always appreciate that they're out there trying new things.
Well,
And the ones that do work really well.
Well, at least Kiln understands that you need 4v4 for balanced multiplayer games, unlike fucking Highguard. Oh man, Highguard. Okay. When it really gels, it creates some of the best moments in first-person shooters that I've had since Titanfall 2, probably. And that is really saying something, because I was like yelling about, yeah, we're getting into the enemy base and stuff to my team who were not responding, which, you know, if you have coordination, I imagine that it's better, just like any other multiplayer game. But because the maps are so huge and there's so few people, you really do need to coordinate, or whoever gets the siege engine first wins. And that's fucking annoying to me, because I hate when that happens, because then it's like, well, couldn't do anything about that because my teammates sucked. And you kind of need more people to blame as well, is what I read in one article recently in multiplayer games like this. Again,
yeah, because that's something you run into in, again, I think that's part of why a lot of MOBAs are so toxic, is because they're 5v5 and the scoreboard's right there, and you're looking at the scoreboard a lot, so you can pretty clearly identify the weak links.
Yeah, but you don't even have the mobs to fill out the map. It's just you're riding on a horse, which is great, by the way. You know me, I love any game with movement tech, and being able to double jump with a horse and then slide and then pull out a zipline gun is great fun. But if you're traversing the map so fast, it feels like, why did they make them so big in the first place? Like, if you're just wanting these encounters. I guess they wanted to have moments of downtime, but because you're going so fast, and because there's such a penalty for dying, you tend to approach things cautiously, but also try to do swiftly, and that's a difficult balance to do in my head by myself. But I've only tried the one heroine who uses sand to make herself invisible, and uses knives and stuff. When I really came in clutch with her ults, that was really cool. But it's like, how many times am I really going to play one game mode? That's very similar to other shooters that I played and really haven't been very into, you know, hero shooters and such. Yeah. I'm not very intrigued by the actual battling in Kiln for that reason, because it's another one game mode sort of horse. I get it if it's really intricately designed, but basically it's a bunch of catch the flag and search and destroy mushed together for Highguard at least. And again, the defenders are at an extreme disadvantage. Part of this is probably because people are still figuring out metas. The few people who are still playing, because the population collapse will be studied. Actually has been studied by Pounder McNasty in his dev documentary. Like, I think that their process to getting to the point that they did was not wrong necessarily, but very insular. Like, I think they should have had a beta this month instead of the full game. Sure, you can, functionally have it be the full game.
Yeah, I think they were really just going by the Apex Legends blueprint, which really worked, which was basically like, just get a bunch of influencers out there to try it, and then kind of have a launch day blitz.
Yeah, except
that worked incredibly well for Apex.
Yeah, except that most of those influencers who, I think that that's part of the reason why they're raising prices on the premium edition, is because, yeah, they know the demand is there for Forza, on PS5 and such, but also because they know that content creators will be driving the demand. Like, there's always, as I believe I mentioned in a previous show, there is always a guaranteed minimum demand for products when people feel like they have to get these things early in order to be able to show their audience and not miss out on views. If your entire economic situation is dependent on that, then I can see how, partnering with Highguard, if you really like that, would have been interesting. But they basically did no marketing and let Jeff do it for them. And that was weird. So there wasn't much before. The game was just there, and because there wasn't much there,
the logic of it, like the reason why you would do something like that is like, okay, let's announce the game, and then sort of let it speak for itself. But I haven't played it yet. I haven't installed, and I meant to play it today, but just didn't feel like it. But it just seems like it's not quite.
Yeah, no, it's very underbaked. It's like cookie dough.
Like maybe that marketing could work for a game, but maybe not this one in particular.
Yeah, it's very.
Oh, we have a player ship, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Fighting a skeleton ship, so they might be a little distracted, but I'm not gonna take my chances.
Yeah, me either. Best not to. And it seems like they're a brigantine. I think. They might be. They might.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it looks like it's 2 sails, so. Yeah. Well, again, we have the skeleton insurance, at least for right now. But, I don't know what it means to have the bones run out. In any event, though, maybe it's when they die after a certain point, like respawns and gears or something.
I don't know.
The limited respawns for the attackers does make sense in Highguard, but again, it's so much easier to just attack from every angle that you can because the wall reinforcements are not enough. You can find more, but then you have to go back, and it's like it's tough to coordinate that stuff, for sure. I think that it could absolutely be easier to communicate to players about that. They could make that easier because the tutorial is just you by yourself. There's no one else. And as I've mentioned to you in a text message, it kicked me out of the tutorial 3 times. So the servers were clearly having some issues, but then didn't. I think it still does for some people when it comes to like guns seeming to fire faster than people intend or not the way that they intend in other ways. But the main thing that Pounder McNasty said that I thought was interesting is that now the developers, by pre-cooking a year of content, have gotten themselves into a bit of a corner, because if you don't deliver the year of content on time, then people start to drop off. But if you don't take the time to fix the core gameplay loop for people, like maybe at least having a 4v4 option. They said they tested it with up to 8 players, and I think that would have been better per team. Because then you could have people constantly defending, you could have people exploring, instead of feeling like you're just running about all the time and hoping that 2 random people don't fuck up if you're playing by yourself. It would probably be better if you were playing with me, and maybe we try that on our off week next week. But there are better games to play that we still need to do, or that could come out, or you know. So it's a bit of a tricky balancing act, and I get it. They took a big chance. They thought that they could capture lightning in a bottle twice, but with a fantasy theme this time. But the problem is, too, that a lot of the design of the game just does not support the idea that these are fantasy weapons. I do not know how an airship society makes machine-fed weapons. I have very 1880s kind of guns, like chain guns and shotguns and revolvers and that kind of thing, just called by different names. But it's very period appropriate to the steampunk theme. If you wanted to go with medieval theme, that makes sense, but the medieval guns would be very, very boring to play.
Yeah.
So, but if you're having a magic theme, then these weapons need to be more magical and interesting design-wise. Like, how about a revolver that magically fuses all of its barrels into one long one, and now it's a sniper rifle? I just came up with that off the top of my head. And that's way more interesting than the revolver in Highguard, because it's literally just a fucking revolver, and that's it. There also doesn't seem to be a ton of options for mounts. Actually change up the gameplay all that much. There's just so many things that seem to have been left on the table. And as I was mentioning before, this game is like cookie dough. It's fun to have a few bites of that, but you're gonna get sick if you do it much more. I had fun with the couple of hours that I played Highguard with, but I'm gonna wait until there's some substantial balance changes and more player count and more content. What they have rolled out does feel impressive in terms of graphics and frame rate for the most part, and an actual not low if again it was with 8 players as designed. Like, I can see what they were going for with each of the bases, is what I'm saying. I can see what they were going for with this whole game in general, and it's not as horrible as people think. But even a free-to-play game by the developers of Apex Legends does not guarantee attention. Founder McNasty said attention is on loan. And that's absolutely true in this gaming economy, where people just discard games from Game Pass all the time and don't even try them. There's just too many games for people to be given a chance to up to games that don't really suit them. I wish Highguard all the best. They definitely missed. It really does come down to the player count and how unbalanced it is. Because FPS squads are usually minimum 4, because that's usually the player group that tries these things, unless you're, say, you know, going against enemies.
Sure, but I mean, Apex was a 3-person squad at first, right?
Oh.
I think
I completely forgot about that.
Maybe that was their thinking, was, hey, it worked in Apex, we know this, so...
I was so annoyed at the lack of movement tech in Apex Legends compared to Titanfall 2.
Oh, by the way, let's cancel this voyage and just start a new one, because we're pretty far from the island we were at.
Angry that they bastardized the Titanfall universe's skin to sell another game. The movement tech, again, was not great compared to Titanfall 2, so I didn't really play much of Apex Legends. And I'd also been burnt out by Battle Royales, having played an absolute fuck ton of PUBG, which... You know, makes sense that they're dropping the last-gen versions. It's about time.
Oh, are they? I didn't actually hear about that, but yeah. That feels about right.
Part of the problem was that because they had to cull grass textures for last generation, they never managed to figure out how to properly balance these things when it comes to, like, people hiding. Yeah. It's a similar problem to how in some games they have to force particular textures for multiplayer on PC in order to not allow people to just lower graphics on everything and then gain an advantage. I mean, there's plenty of other ways you could gain an advantage on PC without cheating, just by having a better rig, but I don't really play multiplayer on PC, so I wouldn't know. Other than, like, old Quake-style games like Red Eclipse, which is pretty fun. Overall, a pretty good show, just kind of clouded by the darkness of everything, and Highguard was a complete disaster of a launch. I just hope that Kiln's launch is better, and that they don't try to just use it to train AI if it fails. I mean, I doubt it'll fail because it is Double Fine and they do have a reputation, but I don't think they've made a multiplayer game before like this.
I forget if you could do parts of Costume Quest, one of the Costume Quest games, maybe not.
Okay, so
I think... In my mind that's multiplayer, but I don't think it is.
As well, while I'm looking through my notes for the show, I saw that somebody on Xbox was saying that it doesn't include all future DLC. I think I transmogrified that to the expansions not being included.
They always have separate car packs because some licensors are just really sticklers. So, you know, it's like, oh, if you want to buy your Toyotas or whatever, you got to buy the car pack.
The phrase from this Redditor, OK Satisfaction 6897, is the one that got me really panicked. The Forza Horizon 5's Premium Edition cost less and included the expansions by default, which... by default, they made me think the expansions weren't going to be included, but I did hear that all DLC wasn't going to be included, and I mixed that together in my mind after a long week. Duh, I completely forgot about Beasts of Reincarnation.
That's definitely one where, like, I will need to just play it to know what I think.
Totally. It looks cool.
I dug the combat stuff, but again, I've seen lots of cool, flashy-looking combat that just does not work in execution, so... I'm reserving any real judgment on that until I feel it. Like, that's just one I'd rather feel than just watch a video about. I forget what the project is called, but it's just Game Freak's, you know, kind of incubation projects that they have where it's essentially what they do is they have a small team within Game Freak and then they contract out a lot of stuff. Which is, you know,
that makes sense.
Becoming more par for the course in the industry, but that's why, because, like, you know, the vast majority of Game Freak is still all hands on deck on Pokemon.
Oh, obviously.
But, like, people were wondering, like, oh my god, Game Freak can do this with a budget? And it's like, well, sort of, but more so this is what Game Freak can do on more powerful hardware with a lot of contractors rather than mostly internal development and some help from Bandai Namco and stuff.
I see.
You know, because that's kind of how the Pokemon games have been going.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Those games still have, like, shockingly small development teams for what they are. So
right, core development teams anyway, compared to, I guess, Bandai Namco helping.
I understand where people are coming from with comparisons about, like, oh, the next Pokemon has to look this good or whatever, or this is what the next Pokemon would look like if it was on a more powerful system, but I think it's more so just the way that this game is being made is using a lot of outside contractors, from my understanding. The guy from the pretty much leading Pokemon fan site, Cerebi, was talking about it, and he knows his stuff. So
okay, it seems that the skeletons are dwindling over time.
Okay, well, they lived a good
Which is fine. Yeah, of pacing about the ship and doing absolutely nothing. It looks to me like the closest that I'll get to playing an eco game on Xbox. Last Guardian, kind of one companion going through a gorgeous environment. Combined with the action, we'll have to see again how it plays, because that's the ultimate test of any action game.
I'm definitely interested in it. It was probably the least interesting thing in the showcase. Like, I just need to know how that one plays, whereas, like, I already know I'm going to enjoy a Forza game. Liked what I saw of Fable, and the stuff that I'm interested in is less gameplay and more systemic stuff. And then Kiln, that's another big unknown, but I have faith in Double Fine, so...
Right.
I'm, like, Beast of Reincarnation just ended up being more of the odd one out, where I'm like, I don't need to watch gameplay for this. It's just something I need.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
The gameplay looked good, but I've been burned plenty of times before by decent looking gameplay that ended up feeling terrible. So. Well,
speaking of developers that are very affiliated with Nintendo, that Virtual Boy lineup looks pretty good. I think I'll get the cardboard, but I'll have to see if it hurts my eyes, and then probably wait for the white and green options.
Yeah, I've played probably more Virtual Boy than most people in my life, and that's not even saying that I've played that much. But yeah, if I am going to buy one of those, I'll probably spring for the more expensive one. But my game
that's how I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be buying it day one. I think I'm good waiting until later this year, because they're going to be trickling games out, which is kind of crazy to me because there are like 20-something Virtual Boy games. So like,
yeah, they're basically releasing most of the lineup and some unreleased stuff too, which is interesting.
That's the thing though, is like I understand Nintendo does their slow trickle of releases, but like, come on, if you're going to be asking people to buy the $100-something thing to get the best experience, why not just give them all the games? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure
it depends on the quality.
With most of them. They'll get there with most of them, and there has been decent quality, like, emulation for Virtual Boy stuff, so, like, I think even just putting more of a spotlight on the few good games in that library is, like, it's cool that, you know, they're doing this to get people talking about. Mostly the Wario Land game is very good. That's pretty much the one diamond in the rough in that library.
I mean, I hear Teleroad Boxer and
I was going to say
Teleroad
Boxer is cool.
It's fun.
Just Teleroad
novelty,
Boxer is cool. Yeah, the thing about a lot of Virtual Boy games is a lot of them feel like glorified tech demos, and Virtual Boy Wario Land is the one that's like really feels like a full-featured, like, oh, this is a real Wario Land game. It's up there with the other Wario Land games, and it's a shame it was always stuck on the Virtual Boy.
The other announcement that caught me, and apparently Arlo, off guard, is Splatoon 3 getting a bit of a balance change with health bars after people get hit.
I haven't really played Splatoon on Switch 2 yet. I know they did a decent patch for it, but
I mean, it's basically the same.
They've added stuff since I've even played it on Switch 1, so...
But I've only handled a couple of matches, so I just was... like getting back into that.
Yeah, I think I loaded up the lobby on Switch 2 and walked around and went, yep, this looks good, okay.
Switch-wise, Disney Afternoon Collection is only getting Goof Troop on Switch. I played the SNES version with Billy a long time ago, and now that he's closing on a house,
excellent.
Now that he's closing on a house, and that has a basement, so that, you know, we're not bothering his wife. That's amazing to say. Congratulations to them. But anyway, we've tried to include her in games, so I think it's just a little overstimulating sometimes. So, you know, it's good to have a basement cave and have those basement gaming days, because I also listened to Once We Were Spacemen with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. Nathan Fillion talked a lot about how he essentially forced Alan Tudyk to like Halo by buying an Xbox and linking it up.
I didn't get a chance to listen to that. I saw you sent that to me.
But yeah, I'd be interested to know your thoughts once you get to listen to that. I think the reason why I've been so, not upset, but just like annoyed at Xbox's sudden stance changes is because I really wanted to have some insular Xbox culture that long gone, that I looked up to. Things change, times change, people don't want to leave their platforms. I get it. Inflation is making everything harder, and tech prices are going up in real time, as a Target employee leaked, apparently recently, according to Kotaku. A PS5 SSD jumped $400 overnight at Target.
Oh, wow.
Because pretty much everything rare earth mineral is gonna get more expensive with all of this AI crap. Wahid Azal has illegally abused the Digital Millennium Copyright Act to, through a laughable understanding of fair use, copyright claim my videos on him. I'm pretty sure that my counter notifications have the correct citations in law. I double-checked them myself. But I was so tired, dude. This guy just keeps constantly harassing me and other people. He has misgendered me repeatedly. He has insulted my genitalia. He has cyberstalked me and my family. And I believe I have a case for a lawsuit if it gets to that point. But I hope that he will go the fuck away after the counter notifications are done and he loses. It's just a delaying tactic. He knows he'll lose. Even though he confidently cites law incorrectly, in my opinion. So a lot of this week has been taken up by fighting him in an attempt to protect everything that I've worked so hard to build with this channel. My 200 subscribers, like 102,000 plus video views. Some of the best videos I've ever made have been just this year, in the past month. Even though it's been very stressful to handle all that. And if he tries to harass me at work, I've informed my supervisor already. Because he did that to my collaborator, Dale Husband, twice at the RBC he works at. This guy is insane! And even if he takes down my post where he doxed me, which I also believe, in good faith, to be illegal, especially as it results to harassing a federal employee. I'm sorry, it's hard to find the words because I'm so angry. He will lose. Whatever happens, he will lose. I will not let him hurt anyone else like he did me, or Dale, or Chris Bennett, or any of the people that he's collaborated with in the past, only to immediately turn on in the most personal terms and attack viciously. Constantly, because the guy is so fucking unemployed that he has infinite free time to just make shit up and say it so confidently you start to doubt yourself. Start to doubt whether you actually have the right arguments and have the right sources and have the right citations. I think part of the reason why I'm starting to come down with something is because I've been staying up late, worried. At least I managed to get out, even in the midst of knee-high snow that had already fallen, to Zootopia 2.
Oh, nice.
I liked it, not as much as the first one. I think advantage in world building is that we've already established a conflict of the overall world and solved racism, I guess. So now we have to solve racism with reptiles. I would have liked to see more of the reptiles, for sure. There are a lot of other characters that just took up space, and I would have cut or combined or something like that. I liked Gary, but not the way that the movie expects me to care about him. You know what I mean? Like, he's barely in it, for one thing, and so is Nick. Like, he barely has any agency. And the one time he saves the day, kind of, he still has to be helped out. It's not necessarily that characters can never need help. It's just that, like, Judy being the railroader in this case, which is just a general setup thing, not a huge spoiler for people who haven't seen this movie still. And apparently you can rent it for $38.99 on YouTube, or buy it to... yeah, no, I think it's a buy to stream sort of thing, where you can buy it at home for $39. Some parents will take that up, but, yeah, no, the people I talked to were like, what the fuck? That's ridiculous. The pandemic and its consequences, right? That was a good time for me to just put all of this shit and the militarization of Minneapolis and all of it out of my head for a little bit. That and the games that I played, including, of course, Bloom & Rage, which I think is one of my favorite games that I played this year, for sure. I really wish that I had played it closer to 2025, so that I could say it was, like, up there for 2025 games. But I kind of poked around in it a little bit, you know, thinking, oh, It's cute. I'll get to it when I get to it, but then I was like hooked by the middle of tape 1. The other story game that I beat just recently is Dispatch. I think we can talk about that in more in depth because we both beaten it. This is like a gourmet burger with all the right ingredients, stacked in the right order, and it's just a little overcooked compared to what you would want, or what I would want, which is medium rare on burgers. Where it falls down is definitely the gameplay. The mechanics are so undercooked by the end. There's definitely certain things that could have been interesting if they'd been given a few more chapters to flesh out, but the story basically rigs it so that you become a dispatcher by the end, and so there's no tension in the gameplay until basically the end, when you have this incredibly hard challenge, which is a massive difficulty spike. I mean, I get it.
What, the very end?
The very end, the final battle.
Trying to put out, yeah.
I had no fucking clue how to balance all that while saving Coop. So maybe I'll try it again at some point with
Flambe, yeah.
Flambe. There were too many characters as well. I'm sorry. A few of those could have been combined. Like maybe a couple of the girls. The demon one, Malevola, and then the Prism, yes, thank you. I don't really know how that would have worked exactly, but it seems like a lot of the concept art and behind the scenes notes was very honest about how things were very overscoped at first and needed to be trimmed down. So I get it that their ambition exceeded their grasp a little bit. I, however, am really excited for the potential sequel. Because where it goes in the story... They have a lot to
build off of. Here.
Yeah, first games are always slightly messy. Because it's the first time that you're doing a concept, and then sequels you get to refine. I mean, take a look at the leap in gameplay complexity from Bioshock 1 to 2. That has the best hacking minigame in the series. More to the point, when it comes to Dispatch, the fact that they stuck the landing like 95% is still making an incredible game in the genre that it is, and revitalizing the Telltale style game after years of dormancy on that front. Because these were developers who were kicked out, basically, with no notice.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, because the last Telltale game that came out, I liked it mostly just because I like the Expanse, but it was very by the Telltale formula, and so like it was refreshing to see something actually take more chances with that stuff. Like the Expanse game was cool because it was like solid 6 or 7 out of 10. Like, not really breaking any new ground, just fun to play with those characters, but it was incredibly by the numbers, so it's nice to see.
Still have a bunch of meat to sell.
Oh, nice.
We need to cook it, but that should be fairly easy.
I got a few minutes.
Yeah, you need to cover a lot still. Very briefly. Apparently, on Switch, it's censored in Japan.
Well, no, it's censored worldwide on Switch, I believe.
Really?
That was the headline I saw, yeah. I was reading an article this morning about it. It sounded
I thought it was just in Japan.
A blanket. No, I'm pretty sure the thing I saw said like it's just censored on the platform, period, which is kind of insane. It's like even like middle fingers. It's like, come on, Nintendo. I thought we were like well beyond.
Wait, really?
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Even middle fingers are censored? Like with a blur or something?
Probably, yeah, just a black bar like old.
I imagine it's a blur because they animated like all these scenes to have, you know, blonde blazer who is not a blonde. Just kidding. I went with Invisigal, obviously. I think that she's just more fleshed out, but I did ignore a lot of the stuff that would have made blonde blazer more interesting, because they definitely want you to play it again. At some point.
For me, the points in the story where you choose between Blonde Blazer and Invisigal, at least the first few, like it feels like an obvious choice to me, especially like, do you go to the movie theater to dinner with Blazer? Like, that was the most like obvious choice of like, oh well, Invisigal sounds way more interesting here, so I want to see what happens with that.
I mean, all of this is a freaking HR nightmare, but that's fun storytelling, like how Animal Control is with superheroes. I've been really getting into that show, by the way. Yeah, I can see how it would need censor bars, because I was like, wait, are they going to cut out these scenes?
Yeah, because the game already has its own censoring, like, that you can toggle.
I didn't see that.
And the game's rated M, I believe, like, I would assume. Like, so I don't know what more Nintendo needs from them in terms of, like, The only thing that makes any sense, at least in a roundabout Nintendo dumb decision way, is, hey, this is a game presented like a cartoon, and kids in our platform are gonna think it's like a kid's cartoon.
Yes, but
in
it
that
has
case,
very adult themes.
There's still a lot of hoops you have to jump through to even get to the point where an unsupervised 8-year-old manages to play this game. It's like there are multiple points of failure that have to be reached, including stealing daddy's credit card, bypassing parental controls, which hopefully the parent would have set up.
Yeah, I probably would have to.
There's already built-in protection against this.
I probably would have to with Tato, because he is, about to be 10 next month. I can't believe it.
Yeah. I feel like any scenario where a child manages to actually play this game and see the uncensored, stuff in there, I think is a point of failure on a parent side of things, rather than anything that Nintendo has to step in and do something about.
But you know how parents get when their favorite electronic babysitter doesn't work for them. They complain, and Nintendo didn't want that smoke, I think. So that's probably why they said...
So I get the twisted Nintendo logic behind it. It just feels like, come on, guys, have you guys looked at your own store in the past 5 years with the amount of AI, script games that are on there? Like, literally, like...
those stupid puzzle games or whatever.
When the Switch first came out, I would regularly check the new releases, and that's just, like, impossible now, because it's literally, like, 90% just straight garbage that's only been exacerbated by AI in the past couple years.
Another problem is what the opposite problem of full nudity is just like taking over. Adult games have taken over the Steam store. I keep getting shoved them in my face whenever I search for something. There's always like harem in another world and whatever, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you can at least... I know Steam at least does have a filter of like, hey...
I guess I could.
Off.
It's just that, like, when I'm going into the search bar... I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, I have liked a game with adult themes in the form of being a dick. I'm a bit stumped on searching for objects in the library, and that kind of thing is annoying. But, like, that handles it well. Instead of just, oh, these are MMA wrestlers, you get to breed them or whatever. Which is what's shoved in my face. That just feels shitty.
And the thing about, if you want to, like, really highlight the hypocrisy on Nintendo's part, just look at, I believe Cyberpunk released on the Switch 2 fully uncensored. So that's pretty much, I think that's operating on a similar level of nudity and stuff, if not worse than this patch. And that was able to launch on their platform with no problems. Which definitely, I think, leads credence to the cartoon art style being the main sticking point for Nintendo.
Speaking of cartoon, there was fake news going around for a bit that James Gunn would direct a live-action Dispatch series. It originally started as a live-action TV show, and I can also see how people would be like, this is kind of superficial TV mixed with a superficial video game. But, it's a better combination than, say, Quantum Break was. Because they take the time to get you invested in the story parts, and then again fall a bit flat with the dispatching because of the hidden mechanics. And I also don't like the hidden mechanic in Lost Records. It's called Rage, apparently. There's several key choices, that's all I'm going to say, that influence that in the background. So you may want to keep that in mind. I get it, because you don't want people to be like, there's only A, B, or C endings. And however, it is still frustrating to be like, I had no idea that this thing was not going to work out in my favor. I tend to always go for the goodest endings. I do like the ending I got. It's so wild that you didn't beat it before me, because I totally thought you did.
I think I talked about it because I beat Tape 1 before Tape 2 was out, maybe?
You know what?
I started Tape 2 when it came out, and then
that makes
just
sense.
Like, I was just playing a lot of other stuff.
I'm gonna go
I'll get back to it when I have time. And then
we need to get rid of Emissary, right?
Yep. And there's still a couple more things I was...
all right.
But it's up to you.
Okay, I'll wait.
You want to keep going with that?
Because the other major thing that we need to talk about to wrap is, unfortunately, the implosion of Ubisoft.
Yeah, like there's a real just 180 in that Prince of Persia remake, because it sounds like it was basically about to come out, and then they said no, we're suddenly deciding that we're going to have these quality standards that this doesn't meet. Like,
yeah, well, having Beyond Good and Evil 2 forever because it's the Guillemot project. That has to be way more expensive than the 6 games, 5 of them unannounced, that you canceled. Ubisoft.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they're just going with their proven hits at this point, where it's like, okay, Assassin's Creed is still making some kind of money, and that's kind of where they're putting all their eggs into right now.
That makes sense. But the problem is, if your few golden geese don't lay eggs, then you're cooked. And that's what I'm worried about with Ubisoft. But this is a game from 2003! How fucking hard is it?
It's insane. Like, it's like, okay, if you wanted to scale back this remake and just say, okay, we're gonna make it's gonna be just a remaster, just a straight up-res of the game from 2003. That's still something, but they just clearly have no interest in.
And
I don't know. It's crazy. It's like, okay, they cancel this remake. What are you going to do with the IP? Is it just going to be nothing for another 10 years? I mean, they did. I know they did put out 2 Prince of Persia games in the past, couple years, but like.
But how do you take 6 years on this?
They have the 3D games just sitting right there, where most of them are unavailable on modern platforms, at least console-wise. So.
And just need a remaster, probably. Maybe a bit of cleanup to the combat.
I played a bunch of.
What is going on here?
I bought 2 Thrones and Warrior Within in the past few years, just to have them, and it's like still play pretty well. I think Sands of Time is definitely the best of that trilogy, like by far. But I think like if they're not gonna do a full-on remake, at least get those games on to modern platforms. Like
Seriously?
I know Sands of Time is at least on Xbox, which is better than nothing. But,
yeah.
Like. That just feels like, why not? Why not just get those out there? Especially because you have this whole Ubisoft Plus Classics thing. It's like,
yeah, it would be nice if that would
value add for that. Like, hey, we have.
It would be nice if that I just gave access to the classic games on 360 or backwards compatibility otherwise. But guess not. Guess that has to be for PC.
It's so weird.
The other thing that's so weird is they are remaking Rayman Legends.
Oh, Rayman Legends, yes, I did see that. And it sounds like there might be like something,
there is a new game
of Rayman stuff.
I could see that, the collection-wise, but it's like, do you really need to remake Rayman Legends? It's pretty solid.
Yeah,
and it's available practically everywhere.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
I just don't understand Ubisoft,
period. Like, that engine that they use for Origins and Legends just seems so good, and they just... I know they used it for, like, Valiant Hearts after that, and then there's just, like, nothing.
Isn't that the
you guys...
same tech that was used for, Child of Light? I'd have to double check.
Yes, I think so. I think they used it for, like, Child of Light, Valiant Hearts, and the Rayman games in the early 2010s, and then UbiArt's framework.
Oh, UbiArt,
like
yes.
That.
Yeah, it's just like, why? I'm trying Rayman 2, by the way, on NSO, and I was checking
the one thing I would say with that is not the ideal version of Rayman 2. Not that it had to be scaled down for N64, but rather the Dreamcast version that came out a year later was like, it added like voice acting and additional levels, I believe, and the graphics are way better. Because that's the version I grew up with, was the Dreamcast version. Then I played the N64 and PS1 versions later, and it was like, oh my god, this is like, it was a real generational difference. So if they were to do a Rayman collection, I would hope they'd at least include like the Dreamcast version of Rayman 2, the Xbox version of Rayman 3, because I believe that one's the best. And then I would hope they wouldn't forget some of the side stuff, because some of the side stuff is decent. Like Rayman Arena was kind of cool. It's like a party game.
For all of you brain-rotted fetuses in the audience, things used to be very different between games with the same name on them, just because of how different consoles used to be, and now it's not so much. I had also been checking out the games I had been playing on Switch, and was going to ask for your help at some point on the lava section of Pac-Man World 2 Repack, because that is kicking my yellow butt.
Like, I've played the Pac-Man World games a little bit, but I'm not, like...
Okay, then.
I'm not an expert in those games.
That's okay. The last thing I think we gotta talk about is that Xbox achievements are getting an update to look
Oh,
a
I
bit
didn't
more
hear
like
about
trophies.
this.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I think they're overhauling this for everything, starting with xCloud. It may be that they're trying to have less frames of animation so it doesn't take up processing for the cloud or something. This will cancel your emissary voyage. Yeah, that's totally fine. And now there's a wreath around them, and now the rare achievements are purple.
Okay. That's interesting.
I hope that they add like a 0 gamer score badge that you completed everything or something, and also
yeah, that's the thing that's always been deficient on Xbox with the achievements is like I like getting achievements and I like completing games, but there's like on 360 there was like sort of just category of like fully completed games in your like profile. That seems like the most obvious thing is just to add more of like a badge for like completing games, the equivalent of the platinum trophy on PlayStation, where they started doing that on PlayStation, and I just kind of assumed they would come up with some kind of equivalent on Xbox in the 360 generation, and they just never did. And even when they moved to Xbox One and they revamped achievements, why would you not just add that really cool thing that a lot of people like on PlayStation?
Possibly because they were worried about seeming like they were copying PlayStation.
Whatever accusations they would get would be massively outweighed by the fact that it would be cool to have. I don't know. That's just something that felt like they devalued it over time, because it was at least available on your profile on 360 and then just nowhere, to my knowledge, on Xbox One or Series X.
A bunch of party games have been coming to Netflix as they have withdrawn from any kind of like really polished, high-quality game space. That's making me slightly nervous for, say, Night School Studio, because it doesn't seem like Oxenfree 2 set the world on fire like they were hoping.
It just feels like a lot of the studios that got bought up in like that real gold rush pandemic era, and then like, you know, places like Amazon and Google and stuff, just like look at these studios and they no longer fit with the rapid pivots that they've made.
At least one studio got indie, Spry Fox for Spirit Crossing.
Yeah, I hope that if they're not going to do anything with that studio, they just kind of let them go rather than closing the studio.
Or just let them do whatever they want. Like, it's not that much of a line item compared to buying Warner Brothers for $80 fucking billion. Much of it in debt, as well as cash. The focus on party games makes perfect sense for TV. They're not going to be able to compete in the hardcore space, no matter how they try. They have been working on this for a long time, so it's not like it came out of nowhere. I would totally play Lego Party this way. It's better on Switch, obviously, but if you cut out a lot of the really complex games by default, it should be playable on phones with controllers that way. Dead Man's Party, Knives Out game, could be pretty fun on the couch with my family, but I already have quite a few good games, again, including Lego Party, Mario Kart World, on better platforms. And I just rebought Golf with Your Friends and all the DLC for like $22 to get the new Olympus Garden expansion on my mini PC, which is not running the game well for some reason, but it's mini golf. It doesn't really need to be that performant. It just needs to... I don't know what's happening, but there's a lot of trailing. And it doesn't seem like any anti-aliasing stuff that I'm changing fixes it. PC gaming is so weird sometimes. This PC brute forces fucking Last of Us on low, so I don't really get it. Week of announcements. We'll see how things actually execute, but 2026's games are off to the races, as the thumbnail states, and they are mostly not off, as in off in quality. It seems like. Again, I really like Highguard more than people otherwise do, but it really has a lot of problems, and this game could absolutely die before the end of the year if it doesn't change something. I don't really know what that is, and I'm worried because it is a fun time, but you know, it's too low on the team's side. That's the key flaw, as I mentioned. Anyway, when might you be free next?
Great question. So I'm working Saturday because I needed to switch a shift with someone, but as of now, I'm off Sunday, so maybe Saturday night.
Okay, yeah,
that could... Then probably, like, I forget I don't know my schedule fully for next week, but maybe Tuesday.
So. Well, the bones have disappeared, so that seems like as good a time as any to say, Wahid Azal, I'll see you in hell, and then sign off. Anyway,
all right, yeah.
Yep. Thanks for joining us on SunnyRedemption Sailing, your bi-weekly voyage for VSV gaming news. See you in 2 weeks.
Yep, later.
Later.